Welcome to the Pundit's Chalkboard. Today, we're diving deep into the absolute realities of a professional football career. We're talking immense pressure, complex tactical puzzles, and honestly, some of the most shocking off-pitch revelations hitting the sport right now. Let's just jump right in.
So, I want you to genuinely think about this for a second. Imagine the absolute pinnacle of your professional life. You've battled for years, you've reached the very summit of global sports, and you're finally handed the ultimate tangible symbol of your victory. Now, what would you do if you woke up one day and realized you had completely lost the physical proof of that monumental achievement? I mean, it sounds absolutely impossible, right? But this exact scenario brings us to our first unbelievable story. Section 1. Missing Legacy. Emmanuel Petit's missing legacy.
Emmanuel Petit recently uttered these exact words. Everything gone. And look, we aren't just talking about misplacing a Sunday League participation trophy here. We're talking about the physical culmination of an incredibly elite, legendary football career. When Petit dropped this bombshell, the sheer shock of a player losing this level of football history was honestly hard to process. Like, how does an entire career's worth of elite silverware just vanish into thin air?
The sheer scale of what's missing here is just staggering. Now, Petit did confirm he has his actual World Cup and European Championship replica trophies safely locked away in a bank vault. Thank goodness for that. But the medals themselves, the FA Cup, the French Cup, his league title medals, completely missing. The context here is just wild. He explained that he's moved house roughly 7 times in the last 10 years, and get this, he only realized 3 years ago, which is more than 2 decades after winning the '98 World Cup, that these items were just gone. He spent hours unpacking storage facilities, sifting through boxes, and absolutely nothing. He even jokingly suggested that maybe an ex sold them or they're just sitting on a table in a flea market somewhere.
But hey, there is a silver lining here. And it brilliantly illustrates why sharing these kinds of stories actually matters. We have what I like to call the Ian Wright precedent. A few years back, Ian Wright revealed that his medals and his Premier League Golden Boot were stolen from a lockup. But because he mentioned it publicly on a podcast, someone listening actually tracked them down and returned the whole shebang to him. Nike even made an advert out of it. So the crucial takeaway here is basically a call to action. If anyone out there knows the whereabouts of Emmanuel Petit's World Cup or Euro medals, someone, somewhere, might just hold the key to restoring a footballing legend's physical legacy.
Section 2. England's Puzzle. Tactical turnarounds and tight schedules.
All right, pivoting back to the pitch, England is facing a massive test of endurance right now. Following a pretty drab draw on Tuesday, the pressure is entirely on. Tomorrow night against Panama is a categorical 100% must-win if they want to guarantee a spot in the last 32. There's absolutely zero room for taking your foot off the gas. But look at this turnaround. Assuming they do what's expected, they have to play again just days later, Wednesday at 5 p.m., against an Ecuador side that, let's definitely not forget, just beat Germany yesterday. Managing player fatigue and long-term career longevity in tight windows like this is incredibly difficult.
So, the big question is how a manager navigates this kind of minefield. Looking ahead, England could be facing teams like Arango, Senegal, or Cape Verde. Navigating that requires immense tactical flexibility. And speaking of flexibility in the middle of the park, let's take a look at Thomas Tuchel's recent tactical setup. He opted to start Elliot Anderson alongside Declan Rice against Ghana. It's a fascinating partnership that really shows a lot of promise, even if some pundits argue the real tactical issues are actually out wide on the flanks. But seeing Anderson trusted in that midfield engine room transitions us perfectly into our next major topic, because this young player is standing at an absolute career crossroads right now.
Section 3. Career Crossroads. Elliot Anderson's massive transfer.
£116 million. Just let the sheer weight of that number sink in for a second. When we talk about analyzing a player's career trajectory, a price tag like this fundamentally changes everything. It changes fan expectations, it completely changes the locker room dynamic, and it places an astronomical amount of pressure squarely on the shoulders of the player.
And this brings up a really massive concern from the experts. As Emmanuel Petit pointed out, jumping to a club like Manchester City for that kind of money is not just a step up, it's practically moving to an entirely different universe. Petit noted that he was genuinely worried about how Anderson would react mentally to being thrust into such a massive, high-stakes, hyper-competitive environment. Can a young player manage that kind of mental leap? That's the ultimate test of any football career.
Section 4. United or City, the ultimate career choice.
Let's break down these two massive options.
Over at Manchester City, you've got unmatched recent experience, an established winning spine, and this ingrained spirit of perpetual champions. I mean, if you had to bet your house on who wins the next Premier League, it's probably City, right? Meanwhile, Manchester United is in a very different place right now. They are in a distinct ground-up rebuilding phase. On paper, for a young player wanting guaranteed trophies, City looks like the absolute no-brainer. But there is a massive catch.
The bombshell caveat in this whole analysis really comes down to the manager. Petit argues that the landscape shifts entirely if Pep Guardiola is not there anymore. Guardiola is the great multiplier. He's that special momentum that takes incoming players and literally elevates them to a completely different, world-class level. Without a specific coaching genius driving that City machine, the environment isn't exactly the same guaranteed development hub that it used to be.
Which leads to this definitive and honestly pretty shocking conclusion from Petit. He said, and I quote, "Boom, City or United, I will go to United." The logic here is actually fascinating. If the Guardiola factor is removed from the equation at City, Petit believes the sheer pressure and expectations might just swallow a young player whole. In that specific scenario, joining Manchester United's rebuild, where you can actually grow with the team and carve out your own foundational legacy, rather than just being another cog in a post-Guardiola machine, might actually be the smarter, more sustainable career move for a £116 million investment.
So, what does this all mean? Well, football careers are incredibly delicate ecosystems of talent, timing, and pressure. We've seen how physical legacies can just vanish, how grueling tournament schedules can grind you down, and how an astronomical price tag can change your life overnight. Now, I'm throwing this directly to you. Step into the pundit's role for a second. If you were advising Elliot Anderson on his £116 million future, knowing everything we've just laid out on the chalkboard, which destination would you choose? Let that question simmer, keep analyzing the beautiful game, and we will see you on the next explainer.